Right. You do. You do learn a lot from a conversation when you try to learn something. And also, like, you know how they say a picture is worth 1,000 words? A video is worth like 1,000,000 because you can sit there and point out so much from it. So it's really worth it. It's really worth it, especially when you're sitting there and putting like the little like emphasis on like the topics that you talk about, and you're just passionate about what you're talking about. So it works itself out. But yeah, thanks for coming on.
So, yeah, no problem.
You said like pictures worth 1,000 words, videos worth 1,000,000.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's gonna get 1,000,000 views regardless. Dave Chappelle new stand-up special.
The GOAT. Well, in my opinion, he's the GOAT. But my gosh, the GOAT has definitely been in some hot water. What's the special even called?
The Closer.
The Closer.
That is,
I believe it's his last.
Yeah, his last Netflix one, and his last one for a while apparently.
Oh, so he went out on what a
he went on stage and said that her friend like, "Yo, it's gonna be my last one for a while, so y'all better enjoy this shit."
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of like made you sad already, but it was like, you know what? Honestly, I kind of agree he doesn't need to do anymore because he's coming out, proved the point 3 different times. We need Dave Chappelle makes you miss real comedians, you know, the guys who would say what they want and be brave enough to take the hit that comes with it if it's not funny.
Right.
Indeed, he definitely does.
Because you can tell like how he tells a joke. He was like, "Hey, if you find it funny, you find it funny. If you don't, fuck
okay."
You.
Well, then in that case, I feel like we should explain to them, for those of the people who haven't gotten to the outrage of the stand-up.
Yeah, this is the appreciation part. It's the outrage.
So I personally, I've seen the stand-up. I was a little fried when I was watching the stand-up, so I don't remember a lot of parts of it. But before watching it, I read a lot of what was going on online. And so it seems as though during a set of jokes in the stand-up, when referencing the trans community, I believe he did in the last stand-up that he had.
That's kind
of an issue.
I think that's the theme for the last 3 of these stand-ups where it's he always has a good joke in there about the LGBT community,
right? So when addressing them, he determined that he considers himself to be a TERF, and TERF stands for trans exclusionary radical feminist. So he considers himself to be a feminist, but excludes the trans community or trans women from that, and so that's what people are hanging on to from the special.
That makes a lot.
Then there
sense.
was the part about the baby too, which, actually was part of the trans joke or the LGBT community joke, where he pointed out the fact that the baby had actually killed somebody
in Walmart.
It was
true.
It was self-defense. Somebody apparently tried to rob the baby, and he defended himself. Apparently, they took it to court. He got the charges dropped. So, guess that's the beginning of the end of it. But he brought that up to reference how he can literally kill somebody. Nothing really happens. But he said, but the baby can go on stage and say some admittedly egregious, ignorant stuff.
The stuff that he said about how long has it been? It's been 3 months, maybe 3-4 months since he said that.
I don't even know.
I forgot what festival. It was like
it
was a concert, and he said
it was a concert.
Rolling Loud.
Yeah.
I mean,
it was Rolling Loud.
Saying 3 months. I can't believe we're still in 2021. So I mean,
2021.
This is about a good 3 years worth of shit in 1 year already.
It's been a trip. It's definitely been a trip. But he said his words, and it's. Can we say that he got canceled? He got canceled in terms of shows. I think festivals started dropping him, if I remember correctly.
I don't
left and right. There was consequences for what he said. That's basically the whole point.
I couldn't call that. I wouldn't call that canceled.
That's why I said he got canceled for certain things. Certain things happened.
I think that was just backlash.
Okay.
I think when canceled, to me, being canceled is when there is no argument or debate about it.
I just see canceling as anytime your stream of revenue is affected, and that definitely affected his career. That affected the upcoming shows that he had. And
these are all valid facts.
If they affected your pockets and changed how you have to go about your business, I would consider that being canceled.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, so maybe my issue or point of contention is I think there's, I guess we say, levels of cancellation, because to me with the baby, I believe he wasn't canceled because there was still too much debate back and forth over whether he was canceled or not. Because you had the LGBT community who was just fuck him, outright canceled. But then you had a lot of people was like, they really say, like, it was still a lot of debates behind that. Whereas, like, you got somebody like R. Kelly or Bill Cosby, it wasn't really too much debate. Like, y'all just going to get canceled regardless. Like, now you might have.
I would say there's still.
I was going to say you have pockets.
Local support.
You have pockets of it.
That of R. Kelly and Bill Cosby.
His streams went up 500%. R. Kelly's streams went up. I just saw it yesterday.
Well, hold on. One thing we want to address on that one is we're going to address R. Kelly in 3 parts. R. Kelly the man, R. Kelly the musician, and R. Kelly the predator. Now we can cancel the other 2.
They're all the same.
No, they're not. No, they are not. No, they're not.
Kelly,
but there are R. Kelly.
So we can cancel R. Kelly the man and the predator. But one thing you will never do is cancel "Step in the Name of Love," remix to "Ignition," "I Believe I Can Fly,"
okay,
"Butterfly."
I would
I'm just
argue
saying.
we haven't seen the full impact of these times. I would say going out now, because right now we're in COVID, you know, people aren't, or they shouldn't be having these functions and stuff and all that types of stuff.
Oh,
I think we have, now that he's been arrested, he's going to court, and now that these proceedings are underway, I think, or at least I hope, that'll have some sort of impact where it's like, family cookout, this is the function. All right, let's take a look at the music list that we had in previous years and make some additions.
Okay,
all
right.
Tweaks. And
my thing is, I would hope that would happen for the family when it's that one uncle you know that touches all the nieces and nephews, but nobody addresses it. That would be the hope. That would be the change I wish they had in the family. Or that toxic aunt and uncle who've been touching kids for a while, but nobody wants to address it because it's just too taboo to touch, but everybody knows about it. That would be what I hope gets adjusted, not the set list or not the track list for a cookout.
I think it's both, because I was recently at a function and the DJ even asked the people who were hosting the thing if it was okay if she played R. Kelly. And then she proceeded to play R. Kelly.
And also
specifically "Step in the Name of Love."
Well,
we were just like, I was sitting there like, yo.
Can I think of it out there real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think there's also levels to the music though too, right? Because what I love from R. Kelly is more on the "I Believe I Can Fly." Like when you can see his talent, I appreciate it, but I never really cared for his like sex songs and the P-pop hyper stuff. I never really cared for that stuff. So like, what I listen to R. Kelly for is like "Trapped in the Closet," like where you can see his talent on display. I like him as a songwriter. So that's kind of like where I'm weird on it, because if we can count it now, there's some stuff like "Age Ain't Nothing But a Number," stuff like that. Yeah, we need to really re-examine that one.
But you're still willing to go through the "I Believe I Can Flies" and "Ignition" remix in public, having people associate that with you, because that is always now forever going to be a sight of eyes.
Exactly.
Like, oh, you still listen?
You're still listening to R. Yeah, that's exactly how it was too. We were at the table like, oh wait.
But it's something that's like kind of so ingrained in our culture that it's kind of hard to get rid of. It's not the same, nowhere near the same level, because they don't represent the same things. But like how white people can't really seem like they act like they can't get rid of the great Confederate flag, because now it's somehow a part of their culture, right? It's one of those problematic. It's like one of those things where it's like, it's problematic. Yes, the root of it is problematic, but there's also certain stuff that we kind of appreciate though too. Because as much as we might want to need to hold R. Kelly accountable for stuff though, a lot of times when you hear "Step in the Name of Love," you have probably some of the best memories in your life with your family. Period. I'm not saying it's all the way one side's right, one side's wrong. I think it's a balancing act, and I think cancel culture is not nuanced enough to have that conversation.
Right.
All right.
Well, that's the argument. I'm not sure. Was it Dave Chappelle that said, you know, Twitter isn't real? Twitter's online. Twitter isn't real.
It's not.
So it's when there are issues of cancel culture and all that, there is no debate that's going on. It's a flood of no. So yeah, I think you're definitely right with that.
It's weird because like my thing with cancel culture is I'm for it if it's going to be done equally across the board,
and it's
clearly never the same. Because my thing is, okay, like Google and YouTube were so proud and happy to take off R. Kelly's channels from YouTube and stuff like that. Okay, but can we go and take off all the Harvey Weinstein movies we got now? All those Woody Allen pics and stuff? One guy who damn near started the Me Too movement. The other guy married his 14-year-old stepdaughter, but we don't want to talk about that. Or let's go to
Elvis.
Or let's go to Elvis, where he married a 14-year-old. Like, all these stuff, we want to really get into problematic stuff, we can go there, but we're gonna have no art to enjoy, period. And I think it's hear me out, this might be weird to say, because it's kind of related to this, because 50 Cent made a really good post about like Dave Chappelle, where his commentary on the baby. He said something like, hip hop has a thing. The thing about hip hop is making beauty out of terrible things, right? That's it
depends on what area you're looking in, but yes.
Period, bro.
Depends on what area you're looking in.
Hip hop don't change, my nigga. The situations change.
Yeah, fine. You could say that. You could say that. Fine. Go on.
Whatever.
Go on.
So basically, to say like we find beauty in things that are damaged and broken, right? Again, now that might not negate what was broken and whatever was trash, but there's a beauty in it, right? So can we appreciate the beauty and still call out the trash?
We could.
All right,
but it's hard to.
It's hard,
and that's why. And
I don't think it's hard. I just think people don't want to have honest conversations.
No, it's hard because people make it hard.
I think people don't,
because you're always gonna have people that are gonna be for it and find every excuse in the book, and then you're gonna have people who are gonna be like, no, this is just wrong, simply just wrong. You're always gonna have that like debate, which is why I said earlier, like it's always gonna be a debate behind it. Boondocks also put a really good point about this like years ago, back in like what 2005 that was.
Boondocks was it around?
Oh, the R. Kelly episode.
Yeah, the R. Kelly episode. Yeah, they like
basically
mirrored
things.
Today.
Yeah, literally.
Reaction to that.
I was so sad at how true that became. I was so sad about that because they literally went down to the league, to the big black lady with the Afro puffs outside the courtroom. I was like, you gotta be lying.
But yeah, it was legitimately like that. So, but my bad. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, and when you're saying like the reaction where cancel culture isn't nuanced, on Twitter, all of that's online, and so that's more just conversation that goes on online. What do you feel about how things get canceled when it's not just online and when it affects people's business ventures and stuff like that? Or do you see, like, if Dave Chappelle's special gets picked off of Netflix and they remove it because of reactions, how do you see those things?
Okay, so with Dave Chappelle, I would say I don't care because Netflix paid him already, so he's getting paid regardless. And specifically for who Dave Chappelle is, the brand he's built, and like literally the generation he's raised off his show, that'll make that special even more hot. Because Dave Chappelle has, for lack of a better term, he's become the face of counterculture in a non-toxic way, and it's not a try-hard kind of way.
Well, he is quoted on record as saying, if I don't know how recent this was, but he said, if this is what canceled is being, I like it. Like, if this is what being canceled is I like it.
He's made a career out of calling out society's hypocrisies and making it funny and digestible enough to make people question it without questioning themselves.
True. He definitely has.
All the stuff we've gone over since we were kids, like, think about it, R. Kelly, right? We've known about this stuff since we were children. Like, children who shouldn't even know about this stuff.
Right. My man's made a video.
Like, we were all probably less than 10 years old when he went to trial for pissing on that first girl.
Yeah.
And everybody
got off. Like, oh my gosh, looking back on it, I'm like,
and
wow.
Everybody wants to act surprised now.
This man should have gotten help years ago.
Years ago. This is my type of thinking. I don't like seeing just taking what's in front of me. I like seeing the bigger picture behind everything. When R. Kelly got locked up, I couldn't even feel happy about it. Because I just felt like that means somebody 10 times worse than R. Kelly was getting off somewhere scot-free.
That we're not known.
Because R. Kelly, whatever R. Kelly was into, all that nasty, despicable mess, it did begin and end with Robert Kelly. Robert Kelly was borderline functionally retarded. He could barely read and write.
So you're saying because he's in the spotlight, there's a bunch of other people that would be...
How many movies we've seen, like, okay, we'll put the guy in the spotlight out on blast because it's easier for us to get off.
Well, like Nino Brown in New Jack City, when he said, like, it's not just me and everything like that in the courthouse. And he said, if I got to go down, I'm going to take all y'all with me.
Well,
R. Kelly actually just recently did say something like that. He said he's going to reveal other people.
Yeah, when you read a charge of racketeering...
As he should.
When you hear a charge of racketeering means that you have built a criminal empire on some certain level. You have an organization working under you that's doing a lot of other stuff. Meaning, all that stuff that he did, all the stuff that came out, R. Kelly was doing that by himself. He doesn't have the expertise to do it. Getting all those fake documents for Aaliyah, having all these parents come in and go and do all this stuff. That he had a team for that.
He had it, yeah.
That's why a lot of that, and honestly,
parents should be in jail. Let's just sit there and say that. The camera's right there, right? Parents should be in jail.
Parents should be in jail.
Parents should be in jail. Shame on
Aaliyah's
y'all.
mother and uncle should be in jail because we don't want to talk about that. Like, and this is one thing I really hope though. We're gonna really go like how everybody has so much energy for R. Kelly. Keep that same energy for everybody else. How all the kids in B2K came out saying Chris Stokes molested them and stuff when they were kids.
That's what they said, did it?
Something along those lines, yeah.
Really?
I know. Damn, what's Raz B? He's the one saying it the most. Like, out of all that, him and his brother was getting really done up the worst. Like stuff like that, but it's never taken the same when it comes to boys. Period.
Yeah, that's a whole nother wave of topic. Yeah, and it's true though. It's very true. It's very, very true. It's not taken with the same it's not looked through the same lens. That's a good way to put it. It's not looked through the same lens.
And then personally, that's the thing. I hate the conversation behind it because you can feel that way. People take that as, oh well, you don't want to have him held accountable for his actions. I'm like, I'm glad he's held accountable for his actions, right? Mm-hmm. But hear me out. Compared to how they've taken down these guys, right? And the attention and the media circus behind it, it would make you think that Bill Cosby and R. Kelly were the faces behind the Me Too movement, honestly. The type of energy they put into taking those two men down specifically.
I think it varies. I think those are different cases because the fact that Bill Cosby and R. Kelly were in the spotlight. They're entertainers.
Yeah.
And in terms of Weinstein, yeah, he was at the helm of an empire, but he wasn't a public figure. His position, it's not like he's starring in these movies. His company's producing them. So I think because R. Kelly and Bill Cosby have so much more relevance to people in that regard.
The cultural norms is how we just...
I think that's why a lot more of the veracity goes towards them.
Oh yeah, and I personally, that's why I chalked it up a lot too, was just, their actual faces. He's a name where they're faces. You know these people regardless if you see them or not. Well, if you heard, R. Kelly if you hear the name R. Kelly. You don't really know Harvey Weinstein if you don't see him.
Well, that's because Harvey Weinstein was power like in the shadows. R. Kelly and Bill Cosby had power like in the spotlight. Like they did. Yeah, because they were like...
they're faces. That's a face is somebody you know regardless. You don't have to know the name. You know the face. Like we knew who Michael Jackson was before we knew who Michael Jackson really was. Mm. That's what fame was.
That's a good way to put it. That's a good way to put it.
When I say that, I mean like... Again, this might just be personal taste, but like how Oprah and stuff, like those other... It was the initial backlash, and then there was the other stuff coming out. Because we had like, what, part 3 or 4 of Surviving R. Kelly, right?
There was 4 parts to that?
No, it was like 2 parts. I'm exaggerating, but...
Oh, okay.
I'm saying, that's what I mean, like the magnifying glass is not put on the same. Because, again, I don't even fuck about how they got like that, because they got there, the fact that you did this shit, so I mean, like, come on, Ree. Like, I can't feel bad too much, but how it was done and the way it was done and the energy towards it was not the same. Like, a lot of stuff I could take apart for course, but certain aspects of it was like, yeah, they're not getting done the same way. Because Harvey, for like a better term, Harvey went to trial, went to jail quietly compared to the other two.
Oh, when you say it like that, yeah, that's true. Because you didn't see many news reports about like Harvey in the same with the same amount of like energy, nor were people talking about it. It's crazy how like we just said like Twitter's not real, but Twitter it has the feeling of realness because when you really like sit there and dive into it, like the impact of somebody saying something on Twitter, how it could sit there and then reach other platforms and then become something of like news, like somebody tweets something about, I don't know,
Ray J is Brandy's brother.
And the next thing you know, you see it on TMZ or in the New York Times. Somebody discovered they're related. Who knew?
That was crazy. Trending a couple days ago, right? Or like a week ago.
Wait, that's real? That really happened?
It was trending that Brandy, like people didn't know that Brandy was Ray J's Ray J was Brandy's brother.
On Twitter?
Yeah.
Wait a camera. Yo, shame on you people. How do you know that? Okay, we live in interesting times.
They should know that just off the strength of that. What was that? They were on Punk'd or something?
Yeah, they were. They were.
With that clip of Brandy running.
Oh my god!
Off the strength of that, they should know that.
Off the strength of that Vince Staples video where he had to explain how Ray J and Bow Wow are legends.
I don't think I saw that.
I didn't see that either.
Oh no, look that up. It's literally the funniest shit of all time. Because you know Vince Staples, his demeanor, how he talks.
I love
it's so matter of fact because the shit he was saying was like, first to do this, first to do this, first to this. Like, that's a legend. Did this, and this. The niggas is legends. It's like, you know.
Yeah. I mean, they have done some things that definitely have impacted the culture. They did. Especially Bow Wow. Even though I don't think he takes himself seriously, like at all.
Bow Wow is what happens when we don't allow celebrities to grow up.
No, didn't give him a break. Had him working like a child slave.
I'm being really honest, like, because you know how
album after album, movie after movie.
He did like Mike, okay?
Like
he's
Mike,
trying.
roll bells.
He's trying. Lottery ticket. He's trying.
But I mean to say, like, you know how like a lot of times when Bow Wow does some objectively trash shit to women or whatever, bitches always like to come out and say, Romeo don't act like this, right?
No offense to Romeo, but he didn't have a career like Bow Wow.
But no, I'm saying that was Romeo's blessing in disguise. Because Romeo was
let him go to college.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, go to college, go away, period, not be under a microscope all the time. Like,
this is true. This
is one thing, like, the same reason people can come back and give Justin Bieber all this credit for maturing over the years, I want Bow Wow to get that same amount of leeway. Because we are literally seeing children grow up in front of the eyes under a microscope with no privacy whatsoever. Like, remember, like, all of the years ago, Justin Bieber was getting all them troubles, like, fucking with his people in the neighborhood and shit. Like, that shit we did when we were kids. We just didn't have TMZ following our ass to do it.
When he had his nigger joke video.
Yeah. You did that when you were a kid, Coley?
Nigga, what? Every conversation we had was a nigger video.
Oh my gosh, that was wild.
We get, like, and I'm saying this to say, like, Bow Wow I don't think Bow Wow's ever had the chance to figure out who Shad Moss was. He's always been playing up to who Bow Wow is.
And now he tries to be Shad Moss and everybody's clowning like, you Bow Wow, you little Bow Wow.
I think it's that. I just think he's kind of resigned himself to the fact that I'm going to just be this regardless. Because, let's be honest, if Bow Wow went away for a couple years and really got his shit together and was chilling, bitches would still try to bring up all the old shit he did regardless. Social media would never let him forget it, period. Like, we don't allow these artists to grow up. That's why a lot of rappers never have a second act, because we try to keep them in where they're at.
So then do you think it's the cure to that?
Gotta make it to ICDC college. It worked for Romeo.
No, bro.
Yeah,
Everest College.
It definitely did.
See you sitting there on your couch not doing shit with your life.
Commercial is goated.
Oh my god, he's like, I ain't really sitting on this couch not doing shit with my life.
Those commercials were tough.
Did they?
Looking back, it's like, damn, they talked to us like that.
They came at us like that. You know, you
also,
like, life.
I don't know how it got here, but Bow Wow and Romeo is a really good example when you have like a genuine good older figure around you versus just a bunch of older niggas around you.
Yes.
Because one thing we really love Dick Ryan and Jay-Z, but we don't ever give Master P his credit for being what any nigga wanted to be.
This is true. I think because people don't understand or know the mountain of success that Master P has had, because he doesn't particularly put it out there like that. Jay-Z is very well documented on like the things that he's done.
Well, again,
like,
I think this is also this comes down to what does success mean to you, period.
Yeah, but we're talking about the overall brand scope.
The thing